right, welcome everyone to the quarterly dairy legal webinar covering the third quarter of 2025, focusing on the dairy provisions in the recently passed H.R. 1, One Big Beautiful Bill. My name is Audrey Thompson. I'm a staff attorney here at the Penn State Center for Agricultural and Shale Law. Next slide, please. We'd like to thank our partners at the National Agricultural Law Center for sponsoring this webinar. The National Agricultural Law Center at the University of Arkansas System Division of Agriculture serves as the nation's leading source of agricultural and food law research and information. This material is provided as part of that partnership and is based upon work supported by the National Agricultural Library, Agriculture Research Service, U.S. Department of Agriculture. Next slide, please. This webinar is the 21st webinar in the quarterly dairy legal webinar series. Previous webinars have included discussions of geographical indications in dairy products, risk management, Pennsylvania milk marketing law, state milk pricing support systems, and many, many more. Next slide, please. Recordings and materials from all of those programs are available on our quarterly dairy legal webinar landing page. You can get to that through the link in the chat there. And then I'll also mention our Dairy and Dairy Products Law Virtual Resource Room and our Pennsylvania Milk Board Issue Tracker are also available resources on our website. There are links to those in the chat as well. Next slide, please. We encourage you to mark your calendars and register for our upcoming programs. Under our Understanding Agricultural Law educational series, we've got immigration compliance, I-9s, audits, and ICE raids coming up with guest presenter Jacob Monty from Monty and Ramirez Law. It's going to be on October 31st. It's going to be a great program and very timely. Then in November, we've got cell-cultured foods and labeling laws. December 12th will be Clean Water Act and Agriculture, Biosolids and Food Processing Waste Land Application. And then in January, we'll talk about Pennsylvania's Seasonal Farm Labor Law. All of those webinars are on Friday at noon Eastern Time, and registration is available from the Understanding Ag Law landing page on our events page on our website. And Pennsylvania Attorney CLE is available for all of those programs. Next slide, please. We've also got our quarterly dairy legal webinar series. Our next webinar under that, that's this program here right now. Our next program for this series here will be January 13th, 2026. That'll be the fourth quarter of 2025. And we're going to talk about dairy product standards of identity, regulations, and current issues. Registration is up and available for that as well. So you can go ahead and register today for that. Pennsylvania Attorney CLE is also available for that program. Next slide, please. Oh, we got this here. Also, we are excited to announce that we have teamed up with Penn State Extension to offer education and services through the AgWorks program, which is funded 100% with federal funds from a U.S. Department of Labor grant totaling $1.3 million in 0% non-federal funds. This two-year program aims to link agribusinesses to workforce services, educate workforce professionals about the needs of agribusinesses, provide services and training to individual agribusinesses based on needs, and help small agribusinesses grow and succeed. AgWorks will provide 100 registered small to medium-sized Pennsylvania farms and agribusinesses with no-cost training and consultation to ensure business sustainability in the areas of hiring and retention, business operations, compensation and benefits, legal counseling, and health and safety. Additionally, the program will register 1,000 agribusinesses in the PA CareerLink online system. If you are watching this webinar and you know a PA farm that would benefit from this program, or maybe you are a PA producer who might benefit from this program, please visit the website, share the contact information, take and share the survey, refer ag businesses, or send referrals or questions to agworks@psu.edu. Additionally, as part of this program, the Center for Agricultural and Shale Law will present 20+ employment law webinars, which will also offer a full hour for attendee questions and interactions. These webinars are open and available to all. Upcoming, we have the legal authority to work and pre-employment screening. That's going to be on October 28th. Then in November, we'll do I-9 and ICE raids protecting your business. And then in December, we've got staying compliant with anti-discrimination laws. I will note that Pennsylvania attorney credit is not available for these webinars, and so that November 18th program will be different than the October 31st program that is being guest presented here by Jacob Monty. So, all right, and next slide. And finally, just a few reminders before I turn this webinar over. This webinar is being recorded. If you have any questions, please write them in the Q&A feature and I will collect them and ask them at the end. We also encourage you to fill out the survey at the end of the webinar Please tell us what you like, where we can improve, and what topics you'd like to see in the future. And if you'd like to submit this program for CLE, there's a CLE form. I think I put it in the chat. Yep, it's in the chat. It's also on the page. So the materials page for this webinar, everything is linked there. And that's floating around here. As part of our responsibility to ensure attendance, we will provide a code word near the end of the program, and you need to enter that code word into your CLE form to get your credits. I will now turn this webinar over to Chloe Marie, our research specialist, who will present a roundup of this quarter's legal dairy developments. Chloe, the screen's all yours.
Thank you, Audrey, and welcome everyone to this webinar. So today we will cover a variety, as usual, of key developments affecting the dairy sector, both in the US and internationally. We will start with updates from the Pennsylvania Milk Board, including overorder premiums and upcoming cost replacement hearings. Then we will review federal actions from USDA and FDA, including clarifications on federal public benefits and proposed changes to dairy standards. We will also cover national dairy trends, such as HHS strategies for school milk, sugar reduction in flavored milk, and a $34 million milk price fixing settlement. And finally, we'll look at international developments, including the US-EU trade framework, Canada's new limits on dairy imports, and Switzerland's new labeling rules for animal welfare practices. So on July 1st, 2025, the Pennsylvania Milk Board announced that it will continue the $1 per hundredweight overorder premium for Class 1 milk that is produced, processed, and sold in Pennsylvania. The extension is in effect from July 1st through December 31st, 2025, so end of this year. And the $1 premium has remained unchanged since April 2019. Next, the board has scheduled 3 public hearings for November 5, 2025 to review cost replacement in milk marketing areas number 3, 5, and 6. In Pennsylvania, cost replacement refers to a system that helps milk dealers recover the cost of handling and distributing milk. So the board sets minimum wholesale and retail milk prices for each region, known as milk marketing areas. These regulated prices include not only what farmers are paid, but also allowances for transportation, processing, packaging, and distribution. When milk dealers' actual expenses, such as fuel, labor, or delivery costs, rise above what the current regulated price cover, they can request a cost replacement adjustment. So this mechanism helps ensure that dealers can continue operating sustainably even when their costs increase. So the goal of these hearings is to collect updated information on the real cost milk dealers are facing. The board will then use this data to decide whether the regulated minimum prices should be adjusted to reflect current economic conditions. So during the hearings, the board will receive updated processing, packaging, and delivery costs, new data for containers, ingredients, and Class 2 products, such as yogurt or cream, changes in labor, utility, and insurance costs between 2024 and 2025, also adjustments for skim and butterfat content, shrinkage, and cream processing costs, as well as fuel-related adjustments, including heating and diesel fuel cost factors, and the container efficiency adjustments, which measures how efficiently milk containers are used. Now about USDA recent actions. On July 10, 2025, the USDA published a notice explaining how it interprets the term federal public benefits under the Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act. So this interpretation is important because non-qualified aliens, so people who are not US citizens or lawful residents, generally cannot receive federal public benefits unless a specific exception applies. So under the Act, non-qualified alien are prohibited from receiving these benefits and the law defines these benefits broadly to include grants, contracts, loans, licenses, and various forms of direct aid. So according to USDA, a federal public benefit includes any grant, contract, loan, or license issued by USDA or funded by federal appropriations, as well as any payments, assistance, or aid provided to an individual, household, or family, including food assistance, housing, or other supports. So in other words, if USDA provides it either directly or through federal funds, it counts as a federal public benefits. So many USDA programs fall under this definition, and this includes programs that support the dairy sector. For example, dairy program payments, loans and grants administered by the Farm Service Agency or the Commodity Credit Corporation, such as, for example, the Dairy Margin Coverage Program or the Dairy Indemnity Payment Program, or considered federal public benefits. So this means that any federal financial assistance for dairy farmers or processors, whether direct payments, subsidies for milk producers, community processors, or reimbursements, or loans through USDA Rural Development or FSA, are all subject to the same eligibility restrictions under the Act. So while the notice does not explicitly list dairy programs, they are implicitly included under FSA and CCC programs covered by the notice. Additionally, USDA clarifies that duty-free dairy import licenses are also treated as federal public benefits, meaning non-qualified aliens are not eligible to receive or hold these licenses. So now on July 17, 2025, the FDA published a proposed rule in the Federal Register to repeal 18 standards of identity for dairy products. The agency noted that the standards are no longer needed to ensure honesty and fair dealing for consumers, and that the products have little to no market in the United States. So the affected items include a range of cheeses, acidified dairy products, and frozen desserts. And on the same day, the FDA also proposed repealing 4 additional standards of identity for dairy-related products, including certain milk breads and macaroni products. Now, national dairy issues. On September 9, 2025, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services released its Make All Children Healthier Again strategy report. Importantly, for the dairy sector, the report recommends lifting restrictions on whole milk sales in schools and removing barriers that prevent small dairy producers from processing and selling their milk locally. And on August 7, 2025, the International Dairy Foods Association shared the latest results from its Health School Milk Commitment Survey. The survey shows that that the average added sugar in flavored milk served in schools is now 7.2 grams per 8 ounce serving, representing a significant drop from 8.2 grams when the pledge was first announced in April 2023, and about 60% lower than in 2006. Under that commitment, which took effect with the 2025-2026 school year, school milk processors have pledged to keep flavored milk to no more than 10 grams of added sugar per serving. And according to IDFA, flavored milk today is not only lower in sugar, but also in calories, dropping from 166 to 123 calories per serving since 2006. So the initiative also focuses on creating milk options with fewer calories, less sugar, and more lactose-free choices, partnering with school staff and nutrition professionals to help students understand the benefits of milk and dairy, ensuring school milk offerings meet the federal dietary guidelines for Americans and help kids get the essential nutrients they need. Also in August 2025, the U.S. District Court for the District of New Mexico gave preliminary approval to a $34.4 million settlement in a class action filed back in 2022. The lawsuit claimed that dairy farmers of America and select milk producers had worked together in the Southwest region to artificially lower the prices paid for raw grade ale milk. So the class action plaintiffs, which were defined as all dairy farmers, whether individuals or entities, who produce grade A milk and sold grade A milk independently, directly or through an agent to DFA and Select within New Mexico, most of Texas, the eastern portion of Arizona, the Oklahoma Panhandle, and southwestern Kansas from January 1st through June 30, 2025. Allegedly exchange pricing information through their joint business activities, allowing them to coordinate what they paid farmers. They also used certain marketing strategies, such as selling milk outside the normal pricing system, to boost their own profits without passing those gains on to the producers. On top of that, the payments each cooperative made to farmers were nearly identical, often differing by just a few cents, which the plaintiffs say is unlikely to happen without coordination. So the farmers claim this arrangement has had serious consequences. Many have been forced to take out loans against their farms to stay afloat, and some have even gone bankrupt or closed entirely. So the complaint also notes that this behavior has been going on since at least 2015. And during that time, DFA and Select Milk's profits have continued to grow, while the portion of revenue shared with farmers had steadily declined. And finally, regarding international dairy issues, so again, back in August 2025, the US and the European Union agreed on what they are calling a framework for reciprocal, fair, and balanced trade. So it is not a finalized trade agreement, more like a roadmap for future negotiations. And as part of this framework, the European Union plans to expand market access for a variety of US agricultural and seafood products, including dairy. So both sides have also agreed to work more closely on easing non-tariff barriers that often complicate trade in food and farm goods. Here they're looking to streamline the sanitary certification process for US dairy exports to the EU. So to give you a little bit of background, the European Union has strict rules for dairy imports. Each US facility that wants to sell dairy products to the European Union must first be approved and placed on an official list. On top of that, every shipment usually needs its own health certificate confirming that the product meets the EU's food safety and animal health standards. So because these certificates are required for each load, exporters have to deal with a lot of paperwork and back and forth with US agencies. And in some cases, shipments can also be checked again at EU border control points, which add extra time and costs. So altogether, these layers of documentation and inspections can make the process cumbersome for US dairy exporters. So under the new US-EU trade framework, both sides have agreed to work on simplifying these health certification procedures, cutting down on redundant steps, and easing administrative burdens. So in June 2025, Canada adopted a law that prevents the Minister of Foreign Affairs from increasing import quotas or lowering tariffs on certain products, including dairy. The law is designed to protect Canada's supply management system. And according to the bill's sponsor, its main goal is to avoid making further trade concessions that could allow more foreign products into the Canadian markets. Currently, up to 18% of certain dairy products can come from foreign markets. US farmers, particularly in states like Wisconsin, have large milk surpluses and are eager to export to Canada. The sponsor noted that increasing imports beyond the current limit, that is 18%, could cause domestic prices and the value of production quotas to drop sharply. Farmers view the 18 level as already close to a critical threshold, and for these reasons, the law is considered essential to keep imports under control. And the law came into effect on June 26, 2025. And finally, in May 2025, the Swiss Federal Council announced updates to the ordinance on foodstuffs and utility articles. Under the new rules, certain meat, eggs, and milk products must carry labels indicating if the animals were subjected to specific painful procedures without anesthesia. In particular, milk from cows dehorned without anesthesia must carry a clear label. So these labeling requirements apply to all commercial outlets, including restaurants, small businesses, and retail stores. So the rules came into effect on July 1st, with a 2-year transition period to allow businesses to adjust. So that wraps up this quarter's roundup of dairy developments, and